Yo guys, welcome to a new video. Today we're talking about The Guilty. My review on The Guilty means a couple of things. First of all, you kinda have to take this review with a grain of salt. I haven't seen the original movie because this movie is basically the same thing that they're gonna do to Drunk, which is that they're gonna Americanize it. I don't know where the original movie came from, but the title, I can't remember the title either, but it sounded Danish. So I kinda think the original movie comes from Scandinavia, maybe Denmark or Sweden. I don't know where it comes from, but it exists. I haven't seen that movie, but now I have seen this remake. I thought it was pretty good. I'm gonna say that off the bat. So if you're gonna be angry with me because I like this movie, just know that I still have to watch the original, which I definitely will. On the other side, that leaves a fresh review for me because I don't have anything to base this movie upon. I have a couple of movies that this movie reminded me of, but that's for in a minute. I still think this was good. The second thing this movie review means is that this movie only came out like last Friday. So I'm back with quick reviews to movies on the internet. Don't worry, I'm gonna watch a lot of movies that came out earlier this year, but I'm still trying to review them if they are reviewable. But let me just say, because I don't have it in my script for the rest of the review, but this movie reminded me a lot of movies like Searching or Kidnap. And with Searching, I mean the claustrophobic feeling. That movie played on an iMac and it was great. It puts a really good use into cameras. This movie had a really good use of audio. And Kidnap, because of the quick pace and the abduction feeling and everything that movie had to offer. I really liked Kidnap. I'm one of the few people in the world who actually liked that movie. But I think that was good, I think this is good, and I think Searching is fucking beautiful. And let me just quickly review this movie. It's one of the shorter reviews because my parents really want to go to sleep and... Well, you see this wall? They sleep a meter behind this wall. So if I do this, they're gonna hear it. And now they heard it. And I actually can hear him entering the room now. Yeah, he's inside. He can hear me. Hello, Dad. So if they're gonna be angry with me for making this video so last minute and not making it throughout the day, well, you can say before we begin, then I am the guilty. Okay, this movie has a really intense story. It has a bit of a slow start, but when we eventually get the call from Emily and the movie starts, it never lets you go. It's like 1 hour and 20 minutes of pure intense heartbeat, and well, my heart ended up being here because I was so invested in this story. And I want to say that the A story of this movie, meaning the story about Emily and the abduction and the calls he gets, it's really great. It's impressive how good it actually is. And a lot of that has to do with the great acting, albeit a little bit overacting, from Jake Gyllenhaal, which we'll come to in a minute. But usually a movie has like an A story and a B story. That's why I said an A story. The B story of this movie is not that good. The B story is about the things that happened to Jake Gyllenhaal's Joe and what he has done in the past that make his character the way he is now. Actually, it's quite an important backstory, but I just thought it didn't fit in the story. There's this constant thing in this movie where he wants to talk to his daughter, but he can't because his wife and him are divorced and it's 2 hours in the fucking night, so his daughter is only 6 years old and he's sleeping, but he still wants to talk about it. He has a friend, Rick, who he calls, and that doesn't work because he's like, dude, you should stop, and then he stops, but it doesn't really work, and he's really angry about that. It's a difficult story to follow at some points, and it's really interwoven in the A story, but it doesn't work. Then talking about the way the story was made up, we only see one location, the 911 facility, and it really works for the story. It's great to be only in that point. And I do have a point about that because we usually are only in that room, but there are some shots where we can see a car heading and stopping someone. It's the police that we follow then. And it's only a shot, but it's really unnecessary for the movie and it really took me out of it. If they just stayed in that same room for like ever, I would have loved it more. So yeah, I was a little bit disappointed by those establishing shots, only they were like 2 seconds long. But the build up to this movie is great, and the A story is great. B story sucks a little bit, but it still worked for a kind of good story. And when we're talking about the establishing shots, there is also a big part of this movie, which is the fire, and they were literally only just there to make it harder for the story to go forward. They had no significance or whatsoever for the rest. I kind of knew why they did that, but I don't think the movie would have been worse without the fires. Story 140 to 200. This movie doesn't have a lot of characters, but also does have a lot of characters. Starting with Joe, he was great. He was absolutely fantastic. Only because it was played by Jake Gyllenhaal. I mean, he was a fantastic character in this movie, but his entire backstory I didn't give a single shit about. So can we say he was a fantastic character? I don't think so, because I disliked everything they said about him and his life. So I don't know if he was a great character, I just think he was great in the moment he was living. His colleagues were very cool. I mean, they were good, they were okay, but they were cliché, especially the dude sitting next to him. But I didn't dislike them all that much. The colors were very interesting, and I actually learned a lot about how the 911 works, because when a caller calls and he has to call back, he gets to the same provider, and that's actually very interesting. I didn't know that. So there's this bit with a biker that fell off his bike and had a little knee injury, and he called 911, and it was like in the most intense moment of the movie. I laughed my ass off because he called like 3 times and he still always got to Joe, and it was awesome. And I didn't know that would happen. I didn't know that works in real life like that. But it was funny and it worked, and other guest stars literally made the movie better too. And Emily and Abby and Henry, they all worked together so greatly to make this movie awesome. Even though you never see those characters, they felt like real characters. Characters 160 to 200. Okay, after seeing this movie, I just think I really like and really love claustrophobic movies. As I said earlier, Searching and Kidnap feel like those movies, and this movie fits perfectly with that. And the way this movie was edited, looking through the eyes of Joe and only being with him, really makes us feel like we are with Joe making those calls. This movie really pumps you into the story it is telling. You too want to know what is happening and why it is happening and what is up with Emily, because you really suspect something is happening. And when they eventually get to the point of what is happening, you really feel like, oh, did we do it? Did we just do it? The music in this movie was great because it really blended in with the story, and it worked gratefully for that. But as I said earlier, it really complies to this point, the point of the style. Those establishing shots outside of the office, within the action of the car just stopping, they really didn't work, and I kind of disliked them. Style 120 to 150. And oh boy, this movie has some great twists and turns. It's like really fucking intense. It isn't until the last 15 minutes that you really get to the point of what was happening and how it happened, and when you eventually realize what is happening, you're so baffled, if that's a word. I can't remember. We say it in Dutch, but I think it's English. You're just leaving your seat like, wait, what? And I've saw some people on the internet who knew what was coming, and I was one of those people suspecting something to happen, but not expecting that to happen. Oh boy, this movie did some fucked up things, literally to babies. But then again, the B story didn't hit me, and when the A story eventually was over, we still had 15 minutes of fucking B story of him left talking about the courtroom. And I mean, it was kind of emotional because Jake Gyllenhaal just did a great job in the acting, but it was really unnecessary and it could have ended earlier. Surprisement, 60 to 100. So let me just say something, and I know you're not gonna comply with what I'm saying, but I do think Jake Gyllenhaal gives an Oscar-worthy performance in this movie. And if you're baffled for like, what did he say, Oscar performance? Yeah. But bear with me for a second. I don't actually think he's gonna get one because I don't think this movie will be recognized for the Oscars just because it's so on a wrong time of the year. We had some great movies in the first half of the year and we're gonna get some great movies in the second half of the year. This movie falls in the middle and it's not gonna get nominated. It's really completely gonna forgot about. And out of all the performances that I said that are gonna get an Oscar performance or an Oscar nomination for what they did in the movie, Jake Gyllenhaal just falls on the bottom of the line. I do think he deserves one, but only if the other ones did not exist. And then again, he's never gonna get an Oscar nomination for this movie. He deserves it, but it's just not gonna happen. He just gives a really good performance, and I dare to say that he gives one Oscar-worthy performance. And I know he's on the brink of overacting, but when you are overacting, if it's believable and it fits the story, it doesn't matter. It could work really good. Also, this movie is full of cameos. It has Bill Burr, it has Paul Dano, it has fucking Ethan Hawke. It really works, and they were great. And I recognized them, so yay me. Acting, 130 to 150. As to my surprise, the critics weren't really negative about this movie. They give it 63 out of 100. And I think that's a good score. I go 35 to 50. Oh, but this movie really got me. I go 4 stars in the heart, 45 to 50. Granting the guilty a total score of 753 or 7.5 to 10. Did you like this movie? Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of it, what you still think of it, and if you're gonna watch it if you haven't seen it yet. Subscribe to my channel, give a like, please comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Share this video with your friends, and goodbye. Thank you for watching. Bye.